Welcome to Ricardo's Time. Today we have a very special guest. His name is Yaron Brook. He's one of the leading intellectuals from the Ayn Rand Institute. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So one of the questions I would like to do is, what does it mean to live objectively?
Well, really what it means is to use your mind. It means to follow reason, to follow your rational thinking in everything that you do. It means to apply reason to living life for yourself, for your own fulfillment, for your own satisfaction, for your own flourishing. To survive, human beings need to think. They need to use reason. They need to use rationality. To flourish, to be successful at living, one has to think, and one has to know and be guided by the idea that what matters is your own life.
I see. And do you remember any situation where you applied this to your personal life?
Well, in everything. I apply it to my personal life in every aspect of my life. In who I choose as my friends, and in the kind of values that I pursue, and the career that I followed. In everything, it is the purpose is ultimately my own success, my own flourishing, my own prosperity. I don't sacrifice to other people. I don't ask other people to sacrifice to me. But the priority is my life, and I always use my mind in order to figure out what path to take. I try not to follow my emotions. I don't think I'm going to get any revealed truths from up top. It's you and reality, and you have to deal with reality and use your own mind to shape your own destiny within reality. And look, when I read Atlas Shrugged for the first time, when I first encountered objectivism, it was not easy because you have a lot of other values that you pick up when you're a child, that you pick up from the culture, that are trying to push you in particular directions, and you have to constantly resist it. As you get older, it becomes a lot easier. It becomes second nature. It's what you do. It's how you live. There is no other way to live. But certainly when I first encountered objectivism, it was hard. I grew up as a collectivist, as a socialist, as a kind of a nationalist, and it was very hard to undo the emotions that attracted one to the collective, to the idea of sacrifice, the idea of living for other people. It takes real work. It takes real effort to kind of undo, those values and replace them with rational values, pro-individual life values.
Absolutely. And do you think happiness is possible? Because now I'm 30 and I see so many people suffering. And there's a very famous quote from Ayn Rand that says, life is not about suffering and dying, but enjoy and live in it.
Yeah.
But how can, for instance, someone enjoy life when they lost a loved one? How can they replace that suffering, that loss, in their heart?
It's very hard, and it certainly is true that in certain circumstances one cannot be happy, and maybe a loss of a loved one, a romantic partner, is one of those circumstances where, at least for a while, it's impossible to be happy. But of course happiness is possible, but happiness is only possible if you pursue a particular path in life, if you pursue particular values, if you recognize, if you introspect and identify the things that are really important to you, and you live a particular life. I think most people are unhappy, not because they lose loved ones. I think most people are unhappy because they haven't chosen values that are pro-life. They haven't chosen values that are pro-happiness. They are torn, they are conflicted by maybe values that others chose for them and the values that they want to pursue. People don't follow their own reason. They often pursue their emotions and get swept away in emotions, and they get into trouble because emotions are not guides to action. Reason is. So people are constantly doing things that undermine their own happiness. So it's not surprising that they're not happy. They create false gods, if you will, false values, false ideas. Some people pursue money. They think money will make them happy. Now, money can add to your happiness, but money won't make you happy. Money adds to your happiness if you're already a happy person and you're pursuing the right values. That money isn't an end in itself. it is a part of a pursuit in life. Some people think that if they go volunteer in Africa and they sacrifice their life to other people, that'll make them happy. It doesn't. Happiness requires a particular way of life, a particular focus on using your mind to pursue the objective values, the values that you have identified are necessary for your success at living, and happiness is a byproduct of that.
All right, absolutely. Now, you are here in Peru, and I was wondering, what do you think it differentiates, let's say, Latin America from your culture around you? Do you see something, how people are here that really is different from where you are?
I'd say that probably the main difference in Latin America is the intellectual context in which people function. That is, Latin America has absorbed more so than I think Western Europe and the United States, kind of a continental philosophy, a German philosophy, Kant, Hegel, Schopenhauer, Marx, and integrated that with Catholicism in a way that I don't think exists quite as badly in the United States and in Europe. It exists in Europe and the United States. So it's not a difference in kind, but it's a difference in magnitude. I think Latin America takes its Catholicism more seriously, and therefore guilt is a stronger emotion here. The idea of sacrifice is a much stronger motivator in Latin America. That leads, of course, to certain types of collectivism, but also to a cynicism and skepticism about life. When you set a standard, which Catholicism or altruism generally, the morality of self-sacrifice sets an impossible standard of morality, then people start, well, I can't achieve that, so why be moral at all? And you get corruption, you get cynicism, you get cutting corners. And I think Latin America has a lot of that kind of cynicism and pragmatism and try to cut corners and get away with stuff, while at the same time being riddled with guilt and believing as an ideal in a sacrificial morality. That's why you get a societies that seem to never move forward, or at least move forward and then move backwards and forward and backwards and seem kind of stuck. These are not societies that celebrate individuals and individualism. It's not societies that tend to celebrate innovation and progress. And that holds them back, unfortunately, because there certainly is the potential to be as successful as any society. But Latin America always seems to be holding itself back, and always seems to be stuck in terms of real advancement, real wealth creation, and real progress.
Well, thank you very much, Yaron. I hope you're enjoying here, Peru.
Absolutely.
You said Peruvian food is the best in the world.
Lima is one of the great foodie cities of the world, Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.